Hi everyone, welcome back to your TED Talk with me, Cheyenne Farr. The title of this TED Talk is Practice on the Days That You Eat. So obviously this is going to be about practicing. Um, think of playing your instrument as practicing for a triathlon. So what that means is that if you're practicing for a triathlon and you're practicing every single day because you need to run or swim or bike that far or a certain amount in a certain amount of time, then you're going to want to do that every single day. And if you stop doing that for like a week or whatever, and you stop eating the right way, and you don't work as hard, then you're not going to be able to run or swim or bike that fast the next week. So the same thing goes for practicing your instrument. Now, whenever you do practice your instrument, you want to make sure that you're not just playing the instrument. Practicing isn't just playing your instrument. Practicing, it requires a lot of mindfulness. So you want to make sure that you're not just playing your instrument just to play it. That brings us to how you should practice. How you should practice is really, really important. So we have 4 parts today that we're going to be talking about. The first part is what you want to start and end your practice with. So for starting, I suggest that you start with scales or etudes. Your warming up isn't necessarily you're warming up to play your instrument. It's also warming up your technique. It's making sure that you remember and that you're really honing in on all of those different things that you need to be focusing on for that specific practice session. It's not just warming up your fingers or your muscles, it's warming up your mind and making sure that you're in the right mindset to be practicing. Because if you're not, then you're just going to end up playing through it, and that's something that you don't want to do. For the end of it, I suggest that you play something that you love, especially if you ended up having a bad practice session and you have enough time. If you go back to that one piece that you know you sound really, really good on, it can kind of remind you why you're playing the instrument and why you love it so much. The second part we're going to talk about today is playing in small sections. This can help make sure that you're not just playing all the way through your piece, that you're actually taking the time and taking a few measures that are hard to you or difficult, and you're really focusing on getting that shift right, getting everything in tune, making sure that it's up to tempo, things like that. Part 3 would be to record yourself. This is so then you can see what your posture is like, hear if you're in tune or not, things like that, because there are a lot of things that you don't really notice whenever you're just playing through or whenever you're just practicing. So record yourself and listen and watch for things that you need to be taking note on. And speaking of taking note, we have part 4, which is keep a practice log. This could be a tiny notebook or a regular sized notebook. Maybe even something cute, something that inspires you. But what you want to use is you can use this to keep track of what scales you're doing, keep track of the repertoire, keep track of what you were working on during each practice session, especially for lessons. Then you can let your studio director know exactly what you worked on that week, and if you have any questions, then you won't forget them. This is really great too whenever you're in a rehearsal and you need to remember to practice a part or write something down. With good practice, you can not only grow as a musician, but watch yourself grow as well. So that comes back to the recording and the logbook that we talked about earlier. I hope that all of you have learned something from this little TED Talk, and remember to only practice on the days that you eat.